Okay. So in the previous session, we were talking about R, right? As I mentioned, R and Python for data science. So we already talked about Python, basic Python, and now we are talking about R. So let's continue with that. Let me show you what we have discussed in the last session. So we talked about some basic things. I did not discuss this particular video with you, but yes, these are some of the statistics which one requires to understand some of the basic things. For example, what is mean, standard deviation, variance, right? All these things. So these are some of the statistics, whether it's R or Python, you are going to require it. So statistics are actually divided into central tendency and variability. So under central tendency, you have mean, mode, median, and percentile, which I have already discussed. And yesterday I discussed about range, standard deviation, and interquartile range. And I have even shown it to you how to implement that particular thing in R, right? So this is the example of a mean, mode, median. I already given you all the examples. Percentile is also given, right? All the steps, range, interquartile range, and standard deviation. These things also we have seen: range, interquartile range, and standard deviation. If you people remember IQR, right? That's what we have discussed in R in the last session. So this is like a theory kind of a thing you can say, or the same thing whatever we have discussed yesterday. And standard deviation, I told you, standard deviation is nothing but how much the other values actually deviate from the mean value. If this is the mean value, right? So how much other values, how much all these other values are deviating from this particular value, that is called as standard deviation. And the formula for standard deviation is this one: S is equal to under root of x minus h bar whole square divided by n minus 1, where n is the number of records in your data or in your table, x is the original what you can say original output, x bar is the predicted output, and summation sign, I hope you know what we do, and we take the square of that. So original output minus predicted output, take the square of that. So square is just taken just to nullify the effect of negative value, right? So this is the example which is shown to find out the standard deviation. And standard deviation is actually, or we can say there is a one more term that is called as variance. Variance is the square of standard deviation. So this is how it can calculate with the help of this formula. Right? Maybe when we will come across some problem statement, at that time we will discuss standard deviation also. Right? Now let's try to discuss more things in terms of R. Right? So let's continue our discussion with data structures in R. So let's see what is vector, factor, list, matrix, and data frame in R. As I told you yesterday, if you people remember, I told you that the concept of data frame in Python is actually taken from R only. Right? Vectors we have already seen. Vector is nothing but it's a 1D array, right? Factors, lists, and matrix. Let's try to see that. As if you remember, we already talked about lists and matrix in Python. So this is somewhat similar to that one only. But let's see where it is going to, where there is going to be a difference between these. Let me start with a vector first. So what's a vector? As I told you, vector is a one-dimensional array. Whether it's R or Python, definition is going to remain same. So one by one we'll see. First we will see and implement the vector, and then factor, then list, then matrix, and then data frame. So a few examples of all of these we are going to see, and then we are going to implement them. So vector. So how to create a vector? C. If you remember, C is what? C means combine. So what I will do is I will just try to show you a running version of this. So this is what my R Studio. I will go and I will try to open a new R script here, and here I will try to create it. See, num.a, this is equal to sign. C is nothing but combine 1 to 4 6 7. So I will just run it, and here if I type num.a, right, and control enter, I will be able to see 1 2 4 6 7, right, same value. So if you go and if you try to see the class of this, obviously you will get numeric, but it is what? It's a vector. Vector is nothing but one dimensional array, right? So class, as I told you, if you go and if you try to check the class, so I told you class is the method or function you can make use of in R to check the class of a particular variable. So here if I go num.a, control enter, you'll be able to see that the class is numeric because all the values in this are numeric. Remember, this C is nothing but what? It's a combine. But there are some methods which R can make use of. For example, you can make use of something called as is.numeric. Is.numeric, suppose I want to check whether a particular data structure or a variable is numeric or not. So is.numeric of num.a. I want to check whether it's numeric or not. So if I go and if I try to run it, the output is going to be true. That means yes, it is numeric, right? So like this, there is logical, is dot character, and all those methods are available. We will see those also. So is dot numeric of num dot a, obviously it's true because it's a numeric. Similarly, is dot logical. If I want to show it to you, yes, it is going to work. So is dot logical is dot logical. So as you know that R is going to prompt the method, right? If you just try to type first few words, first few letters of that particular method. So is dot logical of num dot a. If I go control enter, you'll be able to see that it's false because this num dot a is not a logical. The data type is not logical. That's why it is showing us the output as false. Similarly, there are some properties of R. What R does is R automatically converts numeric to text when you have a text item in the vector. For example, if you have a mixture like this, so maybe suppose if you go and if you try to suppose if you just try to copy this one only. So if I go and if I try to create a vector in which I have numbers as well as characters, right? Suppose some character is there, WP, right? Now this is numeric, but this is character. So if I go and if I try to create a vector like this, what happens is by default R is going to convert everything into a character. If I go and if I try to check class of B here, control enter, now you will see that everything is character, right? So if I go and if I try to print B and control enter, now you will see that one is in double quotes, two is in double quotes, and WPU is also in double quotes. What do you mean by that? It means everything is now character. If you try to see num dot a, how num dot a was printed. Suppose if I show you, if I learn num dot a here, now see it was not in double quote or in single quote, right? So I told you yesterday that whatever which is in double quotes or in single quote, for R it's a character or it's a string. So always remember, if at least one element in a vector is of character type, what R does is R is going to convert every other thing as character. So that's an important property and very useful property to remember whenever you are working with R. Okay, so remember that particular thing, how actually R actually works. So again, you can go and you can check whether it's numeric or not. So obviously, this time it is not going to show us as true for vector B controlling the, now see it's false because B is not numeric now. B is a character actually. Again, if you want to go and if you want to check it whether it's a character or not, so is dot character, you go and you try to see for B, control enter, now you'll be able to see that it is true. Because yes, as I told you, if at least one element in a vector, if it's a character, all the elements it is going to convert there also as character. That's a basic property which are actually makes use of. Okay, moving forward, you can convert data types, for example, from numeric to character. So yes, that's possible. We make use of something called as dot character. Suppose I have a vector like this, a is equal to combine of 1 2 4 6 7, right? So if I go and if I want to convert this into character, that's possible. So here it is, a is equal to combine. So let me just control enter here. This is what my a is. Now you can see everything is in numeric, right? Even if I go here and if I try to see, maybe if I try to go and if I try to check whether it's numeric or not, yes, it's numeric, right? It's going to show me the output as true. But what I can do is I can convert it as character. So as dot character of a and then run it. Now we'll be able to see that everything is converted into string because everything is in double quotes, right? If I go once again and if I try to check is dot numeric of a and then run it, now this time it is going to show me true because this is just for temporary purpose. What I should have done is I should have actually assigned it to some new variable like b and then run it, right? And then go and then try to check the type of b, maybe is dot numeric of b. Now this time it is going to show you false because what is b now? B is now a character because we converted it as a character. So as what character is a method which can convert numeric to character. That's possible. Okay. So again, logical operators I have already told you. True is one and false is zero. So if you want to see that with simple example, yes, that is possible. So you can check. For example, I have a vector like d is equal to true, true, false. So let's see how this is going to be interpreted in case of R. So if I write down b is equal to c of true, true, false. I will again repeat. C is a method which is available in R which stands for combine. If if I go and if I run it, if I try to show you what is D and once again run it, now you will be able to see that true, true, false, what it is showing. Right now, if I go and maybe if I try to check the class of D, obviously it's logical, right? It's logical. Or even if you can go and you can check it like this, is dot logical must be available, right? So see, is dot logical of D, so it is going to show it true because yes, it is logical. But if I go and if I try to convert it as character, so as dot numeric, for example, let me check as dot numeric of D and then run it, now you will be able to see that true is converted as 1. See, true, true, false. That's why you will get 110. So from this example also you can notice that true is 1 and false is 0 in case of R. Exactly similar to what we have seen in case of Python. And you can go and you can see in reverse way also. That's also possible. So that's what actually is shown here. Okay, so someone is asking, Manas is asking what class of D actually signifies. So Manas, class of D, what it does is class of D actually tells you what is the data type of the variable. For example, if I am writing A is equal to 3, control enter, and then if I write a class of A, so I am just trying to check what is the data type of variable A. So the data type of variable A, it is printing as number. Is it clear, Manas? Class is just trying to tell you the class of that particular variable. That's it. Is it clear, Manas? Just reply me. Okay. Next thing. Let's continue with the remaining things. Okay. So and yes, what I was trying to tell you is even the reverse is also possible. But yes, there are some exceptions. For example, if we have a vector like this is how we create a vector. Okay. Try to remember. C command. That's what we make it. So E is equal to C of 0, 1, 33 and minus 35. Let's see what happens to this. If I have variable E is equal to this one, so if I go and if I try to run E, now it is printing 0, 1, 33 and minus 35. Now, what if I try to convert it as logical, right? So, as dot logical of E. So, why we have taken this particular example only? So, yes, 0 you know that it is false. 1 is true, but what is 33 and what is minus 35? That means the value except 0. What actually R treats it as? Let's see that. See, 0 is false. So for this 0, you got false here. But for all the other values, you get true. So always remember, when you are going in the reverse way, all the other numbers other than 0 is going to be true, whether it's positive or negative. So this is again very useful point. You can remember for R. Okay, that's what it is actually showing. And yes, how to create a vector in some range starting from 1 to 10, for example. So what we can do is again we can make use of C command. That is nothing but combine. So suppose random here, suppose I want to create a vector V is equal to C of 1 colon 100 and then run and then V and then run. Now you will be able to see that we generated the numbers from 1 to 100. Like this, whatever you want, you can go and you can generate those. Let's suppose when someone wants 1 to 500, go here and just print it. You'll be getting 1 to 500, right? So C 1 colon 500, it is going to give the range. So if you can remember the range method in R, somewhat similar to that. Not exactly, but somewhat similar to that particular thing. But yes, again there are some variations in here. Here you can see. Suppose if I go here, if I type 1 colon maybe 20 comma, suppose I can write down 100 comma 13 100 comma 300 comma 125 comma 350, something like this, and then run. And then let's check V. What will happen? It will give me all the numbers from 1 to 20 and then 100, 300, 125 and 350. This is how you can generate the numbers as per the requirement. Let me see. Now see, it has printed everything 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 20. And after that 100, 300, 125 and 350. So you can check it. Okay. So this is how you can make use of this combine C command, right? Which actually stands for combine. So remember, this is how you can create the vector, whatever you want. And yes, one more thing is there that is called as creating a sequence. So we make use of SEQ. Now let's see what will happen because of this SEQ and why do we use it. So definitely, with the help of C command or combine, we can actually create the sequence, but there is a separate command called a sequence. Let's see how to make use of that. So let me show you the running version of this. See, SEQ is a sequence command. Again, it is going to generate what? It is going to generate the numbers. So if I go and if I try to type num.d and run it, okay, num.d. Now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But what happens with this sequence is sequence actually allows you to get the numbers as per your requirement. For example, let's see here. Suppose I want sequence which is actually it's like a step size, we can say, right? Step size what we have seen in case of Python. So for example, if I go and if I try to copy the same command, but here in sequence, if I give a argument called as by equal to, suppose by equal to 2. So what will happen? 1 and then 3 and then 5 and then 7 and then 9. This is what it is going to print as far as SEQ is very necessary. So if you go here and if you try to see num.d now you will be able to see the sequence 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So remember, this is what we make use of. But even if you make use of sequence, do not forget to make use of combine, because combine is necessary. That's why I told you combine first and then I told you about SEQ, because SEQ has all these options, right? Like by. So it's like a step size, which we have seen in case of Python earlier, right? So vectors can have character or any other array, right? This we have already seen a mixture of characters and numbers, but even vectors can have only characters. That's also possible. So this is a simple example just to make sense of that. So character dot a is equal to a b c d e. See, a is in single quote, b is in double quote. It doesn't make any difference. So character dot a and then control enter, and then you will be able to see a b c d e. Okay. So that means the simple point I want to tell you is that yes, you can have characters even in case of vectors. That's for sure possible, right? You can check the class of a vector by class command. I already told you, right? This we have seen many times. Class of any variable. So in this case, all are characters. That's why it is showing you character. Now, referring to a specific value in the vector. So this is nothing but indexing. Let's see how indexing works in case of R. There's a little difference between R and Python. If I want to tell you, see. Now, suppose see what is this character dot a? Character dot a is this one. Now, if I ask you, what if I want to fetch element C? So in Python, you will tell me that okay, 0, 1, 2, right? So what you will do is you will do something like character of 2, like something like this you will do. That is indexing in case of Python, but that doesn't work in R. In R, indexing starts with 1. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. Remember that. In Python, remember, in case of Python, indexing starts with 0, 1, 2, and so on. But in case of R, indexing starts with 1, 2, 3. So this is the basic difference between R and Python. Okay, let me show it to you. Suppose character dot a is this. Now suppose I want to access C. Let me check whether it is right or wrong. Character of 2. So what I should get is C. Sorry, 0, 1, 2. If I go, if I want to see, I should be writing down 3. Let me check control enter. Now see, you got character dot a of 3 is C. So remember, indexing in case of R starts with 1. Indexing in case of Python starts with 0. Basic difference between R and Python. And yes, colon method you are already aware about, right? So what happens? 2 colon 4. What happens in case of R? In case of Python we already seen. Let's see what happens in case of R here. So character 2 colon 4. So what will happen? 2, 3 and 4. In case of Python it was like this value was not included, right? But yes, it is not the case in case of R. In case of Python that was the case. So remember, 2 colon 4 means you will get second, third and fourth. That is B, C and D. Let's learn it. So remember this. Okay, this is how indexing works in case of R language. Okay, and control L, I already told you, if you want to clear everything, see here you are able to see all these things, right? So suppose if I want to clear that, what I will do is I will just press control L, and that's it. Control L means clear. That's a shortcut for clearing everything from the console. Okay, that is one thing. Then assigning the names to the values or vector values. Again that is also possible. So num dot a is your vector. So what we use is we use names command. That's it. So names of num dot a is equal to a b c d e. That means what will happen? A means 1, B means 2, and so on. Let me show it to you with a simple example here. And then indexing also you can go and you can actually make use of that in indexing. So let me show it to you. See. For example, you have a vector called as num dot a. This is your vector. Okay. So num dot a is equal to 1 2 4 6 7. Let me run it. Now if you want to go and if you want to see what is num dot a, so I will just try to print it, control enter. This is what num dot a is, 1 2 4 6 7. Now names of num dot a, b, c, d, e. So what will happen because of this? It means a straightforward thing is like you are just assigning the names. So a means 1, b means 2, c means 4, d means 6, and e means 7. That's it. That's what it is actually doing. And same names you can actually make use of in while indexing. That's possible. So what I will do is I will run names of num dot a, and then num dot a. If I go and if I try to see, I will get num dot a like this, right? So these are the names. So suppose if I go here now, if I try to do num dot a of, suppose what is the num dot a of b, let me check, control enter. Now what you will get is b2, right? So simple here. If you want to assign the character names to the values in the vector, yes, that's possible in R. Many times it is again helpful. Okay, now that was all about vector. Let's see what do you mean by factors. As we have already seen vectors, we want to revise that. Let me directly move to the example and let's try to talk about what do you mean by factors. And see, all of you, make it a point that you, in your quizzes, right? There will be quizzes which I will be conducting, online quizzes. You will be getting questions from this document only, right? So whatever I am trying to teach you, just if you have any question, just raise your hand, just put the question in the chat box. You will be getting the questions from this document or and whatever I am teaching you. Okay, so I will let you know when there will be an exam or quiz, but just be careful, right? So whatever I am teaching, everyone should be able to understand that. Make it a point. Factors. Now factors, if you go and if you want to see what is the factor, let's see it with the help of example. Yes, I'll be sharing this, Sharon. I'll be sharing all these things before that quiz. As I shared earlier document below the video on my YouTube channel. Same thing. I'll be uploading the video as well as a document. Don't worry about it. Okay. So let's see factors. Let me check. Let me show you with a simple example what is a factor. So for that we will use this particular example. Okay. Now student dot height. This is what our vector is. If I go and if I try to run it, combine C command is just showing me the vector student dot height. This is what student dot height is. Now there is a method or there is a function available in Python which is called as summary. Summary is going to give you overall idea about the data and it is very useful. If you people have used something called as describe in Python, this is similar to that. Let me check what is the summary of student dot height. It is going to give me all these values: minimum value, first quartile, median, mean, third quartile, and maximum. And I hope everyone is very much aware about all these things, right? Now this is what the summary, right? This is what the summary which we got from that particular student.height with the help of summary command. Now finding summary of characters. So whenever we find out the summary of numbers, numeric data, we get minimum value first quartile, so second quartile, third quartile, mean value, median value, and maximum value. But what if your data is not numeric? What if your data is character? So in that case, what you can do is you can again make use of summary command, but the same output will not be able to see. It is going to show you something else. For example, if I am creating a vector like airports is equal to combine Delhi, Calcutta, New York, Calcutta, Delhi, Delhi. So you can see Delhi is repeated 3 number of times. Let me run this. Let me create airports vector here. So airports vector is created here, control enter. And now if I go and if I try to see summary of that, see what it is going to give us. It is telling us the length, that is 6 elements are there. It is telling us the class and it is telling us the mode. So mode's data type it is telling us, but what is mode it is not telling us, right? What do you mean by mode? Mode is nothing but the most repeated value. So if I ask you what is mode here for this particular vector, your answer should be what? The element which is repeated most number of times. So I think Delhi, Delhi, and Delhi. Delhi is repeated 3 times. Calcutta is repeated 2 times, and New York is repeated 1 time. So in this case, the mode is Delhi. So summary command for character type of vector, it is not going to give us obviously mean, median, and all those things are not possible for character type of data. So you are going to get the mode for character, right? But again, here it is just showing the type, data type of the mode. We are not getting what is the mode. So that's what we are going to see now. Okay. So let's see what is how to find out the mode. For that, this particular thing we already created. So what we will do is we will use factors here. How? So we will convert that particular airport vector into factor. What will happen if you convert them into factor? Let's see that. See, what am I doing is I'm just using a method called as factor. This factor method is going to convert airports into factors. What do you mean by factor? Let's see that. So that result I have stored in airport dot fact. Let me just try to show you how it looks like. Airport dot fact, control enter. I'll be able to see it is showing us Delhi, Calcutta, New York, Calcutta, Delhi, Delhi, and it is showing us the levels. Calcutta, Delhi, and New York. See, there are different levels of the data. For example, these are the levels of data. See, levels of data are like nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Nominal is nothing but what? Nominal is a category without order. It's a category without order. That is called as nominal. So, category without order means maybe, for example, you can say that you take any example where there is a category, but there is no order according to that particular category. So, for example, maybe student with the names Sachin, student with the names Rahul. There is no category, right? So that is category without order. Ordinal is category with order, right? And interval is like a step, and ratio you know, right? 2:4, 1:2. So levels of data are divided into four types: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So what summary command actually gives us, if you do the summary for factor, is it is actually going to give us level. So what I have done here, if you see here, what I have done, airport dot fact. For that, what I have done is factor airports, factor of airports. Airports was our vector. I just tried to use factor method and then save the data into airport dot fact. And when I run airport dot fact, I am able to see this particular output. So it is showing us the levels of data: Calcutta, Delhi, and New York. So it's a nominal. What we can say is it's not ordinal. It's just a nominal level. We cannot go and we cannot arrange in the particular order, right? So what I will do is now whatever we have airport dot fact, right? This particular thing, uh, if I go and if I try to take the summary of that, let me show you. If I go and if I try to take the summary of factor, that is airport dot fact, let's see what will happen here. So airport dot fact, now it should show me how many times a particular value is repeated. So it is showing me Calcutta is repeated 2 times, Delhi is repeated 3 times, and New York is repeated 1 time. I told you the value which is repeated most number of times is going to be the mode, right? So what factor has given us? Factor, because of the factor we got different levels, and then for that factor we actually applied a summary method, and that summary method has given us the repetition number of times a particular value is repeated. And obviously from that we can go and we can find out the mode, because mode is nothing but the most repeated value. Example of ordinal data, for example months: Jan, Feb, March, April, May, and so on. So you can put them in order, because we know Jan is first, and then Feb, and then March, and then April, and so on. That type of a data is called as ordinal data. For example, suppose if I have a vector birth dot month is equal to combine of all these months, and carefully observe that they are not in the proper order. Okay, so is Sharon is asking, is factor same as giving unique values in the set or list? So Sharon, factor is, yes, you can say, but it gives us the unique value. But along with that, if you check what factor gives us, if I go and if I try to apply factor on airports, and then I show you the output of airports or fact. See, if I go and if I try to run it, the output was like this, right? So yes, you can say it is going to show us the unique values, because once we have our data in factors, then only you can go and you can talk about the repetition of this. So yes, you can say that they give us the unique values from your vectors, right? So that's right, Sharon. You can take it like that also, no problem. It shows us the unique values. Next thing, now try to observe. In birth dot month, what do I have? March, April, Jan, November, Jan, September, October. So there are different months. right? And they are repeated. So what I will do is I will try to create a vector of this with the help of C command combine, and then we will try to take the summary of that. So let's see. Here I am trying to create a vector of months, right? So, and again they are not in the proper order, right? Let me go and try to run it. Let me show you what first or month actually reflects. Control enter. So these are the months. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That means 10, 15, 20, and 24. So 24 elements are there, which are nothing but the months only. So if I go here and if I try to take a summary of these, birth dot month and control enter, now you'll be able to see that it is showing me the length. That is 24 values are there, and class and the mode. But actual value of mode it is not showing us. What we can do here, we can go and we can make use of factor command, right? And then we can come up with the mode value. So obviously, as factor shows us the unique values, that's what we are going to do now. So see, what are we doing? Birth dot month dot fact is equal to factor of birth dot month, and then summary of birth dot month of fact. Same thing, whatever we have done for the previous example, same thing we are doing. So we are converting them into factors. Factors are going to show us the unique values, right? This is what it is going to show us. So you can see they are going to show us the levels. So April, August, December, but obviously not in proper order. But they will show us the unique values. And then what we can do is we can go and we can apply a summary method onto factored data. Birth dot month, sorry, birth dot month dot fact. So here if I go and if I try to check the summary of this, now what you will get is you will get the levels, right? And along with their repetitions. But again, this is not proper. If you can check, this is not that much readable, right? What we as a humans, what we are used to this Jan and then Feb and then March. Again, if you want to make it as easy to understand, what you can do is go here, summary of birth dot month dot fact, and try to check different options. So maybe I need to check, or maybe descending order. So I'm just trying to check the arguments here, which can be possible, or I can do the order. So what I need to do here is I want this particular thing in proper. So I want Jan first, and then its repeated value, then Feb, and then how many times it is repeated, and then March, and then how many times it is repeated, and so on. Because that is more readable as compared to this. Right? Absolutely. I got the value of the repetitions. Absolutely, I got that. But again, it is not that much easy to read because what we are used to is we are used to Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, and so on. So that's what we are going to do now. So see, this is what we will get a summary of bird dot on the fact. But after that, to put this summary in order, we need to use ordered is equal to true, right? And then we provide details. What we are going to do is we are going yes, we are going to make the factors only, but we are going to make the ordered is equal to true and level whatever the level we want, that level I am going to do. So I want level in this fashion. Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, October, November, and December. So this is what we can make use of. I am going to make use of levels and ordered arguments in case of factor. And then I am going to convert them into factor once again. And then I will see the summary. In that case, I will be getting same summary but in proper order. That is readable, I can see. So here you can go and you can see this is what we have given. So we have given the level whatever we want. Right? In this level only we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this and then I'm going to check the summary of that. So if I go and if I try to check the summary of birth dot month dot fact, I find out the proper summary of this. No, see Jan first, Jan is repeated 3 times, Feb is repeated 2 times, and so on. So you can see which month is repeated many number of times. November. So November is going to be the more of time. Right? This is how you can go and you can make use of factors. I hope everyone is able to understand. And yes, there is one more command that is called as table. Table also you can make use of instead of summary if you want. Table command is also there, which are makes use of, but many times we use summary. So yes, see, table command is also using the same one. So that was about factor. Factor also plays a very important role. Let's try to talk about lists now. List, in case of Python we have seen that lists are always enclosed in square brackets, okay, and lists are mutable. You can go and you can change the elements. So let me show you. See, I am creating a vectors. A is equal to 146, B is equal to red, green, and C is equal to welcome. Right? Let's create this, and then finally we will create a list. So list list is the command which we make use of to create a list in R. First of all, let me show you vectors. So we are creating the vector A, and then B, and then C, and then finally we are creating the list. So I will run this. A is created. If you want to see how A looks like, see, this is what our A is, 146. Again B, control enter. You want to see B, then run it here, and again C, I will run it, control enter. And then if you want to see C, then welcome. And this is how we are going to create a list. So my list, again this is just a variable. My list is equal to list of A comma B comma C. What is the value of A? 146. What is the value of B? Red, green. What is the value of C? Welcome. Let's see what's going to happen now. We are just going to combine all of them. So why we write dot in my list? Sharon, that's just a name. Even if I do not write on that, this is also possible. That is just a variable, Sharon. Okay. My dot list we write down just to make the sense. Is it clear, Sharon? See, I will show it to you. I will just run it. Okay, and then I will write. And now the name of my list is Sharon. Now see, I'll be able to see the output. See what has happened. Try to observe carefully. Now this is the name of the list. In that list I have 146, red, green, as well as welcome. So the first element is this, second element is this, and third element is this. Just try to observe. In a list we just try to combine everything, A, B, and C. All of them we try to combine. So those are just the variable names. We are just trying to keep them as meaningful as possible. That's why we are writing down the dots. Now you can see, as this is our list name, what we can do is just try to see now what happens with this list. So if I go and if I try to write down the name of the list and then put a dollar sign here, okay, and suppose this one dollar sign, check, it should show me all the other options. Suppose if I go and if I write a C, let me first of all check it. Okay, so my dot list dot n, this is just naming the list actually. We need to name the list. So in my case, the name of my list is I have given the name as Sharon, right? List ABC. Now what we will do is we will just name that particular list. So that dollar sign, I wanted to show you how it works. Let me show you. See, what we are doing is we are just trying to name the elements of the list. This is a case. In my case, I will have to change the name. Okay, so my list is this, is equal to, so A we are naming it as pieces, B we are naming it as colors, and C we are naming it as message. Let me run. Okay, now if I go and try to write Sharon dollar, and see, you will be able to see all these. So this is the use of name. So suppose I want to see only colors, I will just run this. Now see, I will be able to see red and red from the list Sharon. So if I go here, if I try to write down, I want to see pieces only, control enter. Now see, I will be able to see whatever is the content of A, right? And suppose if I want to go and if I want to see the welcome message, right? Go here and run it, I will be able to see welcome message. This is possible because we have named the elements of the list like this. Again, these names can be anything. Okay, this is just an example. I hope you people are able to understand that with the help of this example. Right? Now, calling a specific data structure. So, suppose indexing a list. In short, we can say how to index a list. In our case, this is our list. This is the name of the list, right? This whole content is in the list. Now, suppose I want particularly list. So what I can do is name of the list and then one and then run it. Obviously what we will get is first element, because see, in this list, this is the first element, this is second, this is third. Suppose I want any other element, right? I want third element, so we can go and we can see the third element. This message is as welcome, right? As simple as that. Indexing in case of R actually starts with 1. That is the point we need to remember. That's what is actually shown here. I hope everyone is able to understand that. And again, if you want even a specific element from a particular element inside the list, that's also possible. What I want to say is, suppose if I am writing down the name of the list, okay, okay, where is my, let me, I am just trying to search my file, which I was just trying to edit. Is that there are multiple files you people are able to see here because I opened those files earlier. Check this. Okay. There are a lot of files I can see. Maybe I think the latest file 111, 112. Okay, maybe whatever it may be. See, I'm not able to find out that file. If you want a particular element, that's also possible specifically. So from the colors, if you want first element, yes, that's possible. Just go and write down. So there were two colors, red and green. Just put one here. That's it. Okay. Let's see matrix, which is again very important. So we are doing all these things because we want to understand what we mean by data frame, and data frame is the thing which is used many number of times. So what is matrix actually? Again, it's a two-dimensional array. Let's see how to create a matrix. First of all, I am going to create two vectors in R. How to create vectors in R? Just with the help of combine command. So I will run student.first, student.marks, and let's see how to create a matrix. So we use a simple command called as matrix. Now see what happens is when you create a matrix like this, let's see. So it is just going to have all those elements continuously. If I go here, if I have to show you, student dot matrix is equal to matrix of student dot house. That means what? That means this, right? So let me show this one, and if I go and if I try to show you student dot matrix, it is stu dot matrix, control enter, I will be able to see all these things, right? So matrix is the command, direct command, which is available in case of Python, with the help of which you can go and you can create a matrix. So you can see rows and columns. So there are 10 rows and one column in this case. Now join two columns, student hours and student dot marks as student dot data. So that's what is possible with the help of matrix. So what we do is we just combine them first like this with the help of a combine command. Okay, you can see. So we are just combining them. Student dot hours and student dot marks are just two vectors. Okay, and then student dot matrix is equal to matrix of student dot data. Always remember, whenever you want to create a matrix, first of all combine the vectors and then create a matrix. If I go and if I try to create student dot data and if I try to show you student dot data, control enter, so it looks like this, one dimensional array, right? Because I have just combined them. If I go and if I try to convert them into matrix, let's see what happens and how it looks like. So now if I go and if I try to see what is student dot matrix, I will be able to see like this. But the elements are added like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So only one column is created by default. But it's a two-dimensional array, you can see. Okay, that is nothing but the matrix. So matrix is a simple command which you make use of to create matrix in R, right? But what if you want to have elements as per your requirement? What has happened in earlier case? All the 20 elements were added in first column, but I do not want that. What I want is I want a matrix to convert this student dot data into matrix only, but by row is equal to false. That means I want in one column only 10 rows I want, other 10 rows in second column, next 10 rows in third column, and so on. So by row is equal to false you need to do, and number of rows is equal to 10. That means in a single column there will be 10 rows, right? And that's how you are going to get a matrix as per your requirement. Earlier it was all the 20 elements only in one column. So see, student dot matrix is equal to matrix of all these things, right? So here, if I go, and if I try to show student dot matrix and then run it, now you'll be able to see 10 elements in each of the columns. So it is possible with the help of n row is equal to 10, number of rows is equal to 10, and by row is 4. So always remember, whenever you are going to create a matrix, it is going to store the elements by row by default. Always remember. That's how you need to make it as false. Okay. So that's what I wanted to discuss today. We are already done with the time.